we got plans for what comes later after the war. The names for our band and jobs for each other. It feels really good. Why? I'm crashing down. Everyone's crashing, but as long as we're together. And the drummer plays a beat too long, and the whole damn song starts to fall apart. Ooh, by show of hands, the group disbands, and they won't be back by popular demand. Me and the boys going round and singing praises no one will hear. Got a box full of toys and memorabilia. It feels kinda odd. Why? I'm flashing back. Everyone's crashing, but as long as we're together. Believe it now, believe it then. As long as you believe it when it comes knocking for your friends. Between the times we used to spend and now the feeling never bends. I notice and I notice it again. And the drummer plays a beat too long, and the whole damn song starts to fall apart. Ooh, by show of hands, the group disbands, and they won't be back by popular demand. Me and the boys
Oh shit!
That as well. Just a giant
Ah.
ass
Sorry.
cyst
Things are
that is protruding
happening.
off the skin.
Good.
Things are happening.
Sorry.
Things
Oh my god.
God. How do we start? Like, what do we say?
I don't know.
We're already live.
Oh my god!
What's up,
how do we
boys?
start?
Welcome to VQ and Friends podcast. We have Nova, we have Lulu, we have me, we have Jose, we have Oja, we have Talred. That's how we start now.
That's how we're starting.
Okay.
That
we
is
should
a
like each
long-
say like our own names, like Nova, and then next
I'd
person in line.
I'd rather die.
Thank you.
Next.
Jose, do it.
Hero Jose.
No,
I just
no,
double
no,
it and
no,
send
it's-
it to the next.
Double it.
Just say my name, Jose. as
Oh
well.
wow, my name's Talran. Obviously.
Yeah, I'm Jose.
Obviously.
And I'm everyone's favorite.
Dragon
That's
Boy.
right.
Favorite
Yeah.
what?
Quiet Dragon.
He's the dragon.
Yeah.
What?
I
Dragon
mean,
D's. Sorry.
No.
handle.
Oh, it's too early for this shit.
I've been
Hey,
up since 5 a.m. Don't test me.
3 out of 6 have handles.
What?
What?
Yes, that is
Horns.
correct.
Horns.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
I
good
like
luck
it.
grabbing onto Talrans with all those jewels.
You can, I have.
You think I'll
rolls.
struggle with pentacles? Hell no.
I have rolls, if that counts.
Oh my goodness.
You have elf ears. They work too.
I don't have offers all the time. I have like raccoon ears most of the time.
I
I'll say-
heard you
I have
almost
a
say
tape.
cat ears.
I
Yeah.
almost did say cat ears.
Look,
Don't
if you
judge
grab
me.
hold of my horns, don't be responsible for what happens afterwards.
Uh-oh. Is that a threat or a promise?
Jokes on you. Maybe I'm into that, huh?
If you grab my horns, I'll transform and I'll fucking fly away, and then it's up to you if you
No,
want
I'm
to
just
go.
saying, like if you grab them, that's consent signed, and I'm not responsible for what happens afterwards.
Oh my.
Okay.
That's the rules. Like I don't make the rules, because I do make the rules.
That's so funny. Okay, where do we start?
Oh god, do we even
no.
start? Have we started yet?
Yeah,
We
we
should
have
probably
started.
introduce the topic.
Let's
Yeah.
not.
They can fucking read, Nova.
Let's not.
Are they
Let's not
blind?
introduce the topic and we just go in.
Just going raw without any
Well,
preparation.
if this is going to be a podcast, we should probably tell the people who aren't actually watching the stream.
This is no podcast. I am here to drink chalky milk.
Yeah, Tara's got 2 drinks, and no one got me one.
Yeah, imagine.
Isn't that pink one supposed to be yours though?
No,
Yeah.
no, it's
No.
mine. Nope,
No
it's
idea.
mine.
No idea what you're talking about.
Don't know. It's he
Me?
did not order a good drink. This masculine man right here. No,
Yeah.
no.
It's pinnacle of masculinity.
Weren't you saying just yesterday?
No.
Oh my god.
You
I feel
specifically
like you guys
asked
are
for that.
retconning real life.
They
No.
are.
Nova just
Retcon a
didn't.
conversation.
Nova just didn't listen to the conversation and completely missed the point and doesn't get the joke. Imagine.
Taran,
What?
thanks.
This is-
Just,
this is-
just slip it to me under the table when no one's watching.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
This is no bit.
Just like,
It's,
just bend
it's
down
not a
and
bit.
slurp it when he has it under the
Yeah,
table for
yeah.
you. There's
Yeah.
no worries
Just-
about that. He
yeah,
won't
just
tell.
go
If
to the
Odin
table and
suddenly
slurp it.
disappears under the table and you hear slurping noises from my
Hell.
general direction, it's definitely
Yeah,
not
that's
him
true.
drinking something under the table.
See here?
100%.
See here?
It's the other thing.
So if you hear
Yes,
slurping sounds
definitely.
underneath the table, it is definitely a drink.
Definitely. a
Yeah,
drink.
now he goes down and drink.
Hard wink. Eh.
God.
Look, I got very sharp teeth. It's probably not a good idea.
It's fine. I'm ready for
Some
their
people
pleasure.
like teeth.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Somebody
Okay,
likes
but-
teeth.
Anyways,
Do you not think dragons are ripped?
Look, just because
They're
we don't have to
ribbed for
tell
your
them about
pleasure.
that. We don't
No.
have
Yeah,
to tell them
exactly.
about that. They don't need to know. It's on a need-to-know basis.
For your pleasure. Huh?
I'm also trying to find like
Anyway.
background music, so don't worry about me.
Okay. Um.
that's funny that you didn't think about that until this very moment.
No, I've been looking while we've been talking.
I
We-
usually
we-
just go for
Why
like
do you
a
think me and Talon
damn
have been literally doing a
save.
bit this entire time? We're filling space.
We're stalling.
We are the best at stalling. That's why we're here. We're here to fill the air.
Yeah, I just
How is
secretly
it-
sent them a message about it and be like, shush,
Yeah.
don't say anything, just keep
How is
keep
your
them
chalky
entertained.
milk, Halsey?
What? Is it my
Is it
turn to
hot?
do a bit?
How is your chalky milk? Is it good?
Oh, I love chocolate. I love me some
Is-
chalky milk, dude.
Is it chalky enough for you?
It's not.
Joke on. No, that just doesn't work. Never mind. That doesn't work.
Where did you
It's
even
not
get the
what?
milk from?
Bitter and my coffee is sweet.
Got the milk from your mom.
I love that Halsey's interest has been dying this last week.
Hey, just because I have a large chest doesn't mean I have milk in them.
Gross, Nova.
We didn't
gross.
You said
imply
you
they were
got
from you.
Oh.
Hey,
Well,
got him.
Halsey is a bear, and last time I checked, you're not a bear, so that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
we haven't written that part of the lore yet.
You mean I haven't written it because I'm the only one that writes?
Yeah.
I have lore.
Okay, I found music.
Yay.
Yeah, me
Soothing,
too.
soothing music.
If anyone has any questions about anyone's lore, don't ask me because I'm still writing all of it.
Just
It's
driving
just
me
read.
insane.
Just read. Learn to read first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
learn through
learn
the
to
document
read.
that you don't have access to that's 15 pages long and counting.
Okay,
I wonder what it's like to have lore.
this is our first time doing this. No.
You'll only get more
Um,
destructive as we go.
Nice.
I was very
Actually, our third
excited.
time.
This is our last time doing this.
because we're ending right after this episode.
Yes.
It's never happening again.
Unless
You
this
only-
gets
That's the
1
stream.
billion likes.
Likes.
only ever gonna be likes.
So
And you
hit
like
that
on
subscribe
Twitch.
button and also the like button too. And share with your friends. Remember. And we'll
Post
see
about
you
us on your
next time
MySpace profile.
on the fairy tale.
If you make any fan art, make sure to share it at DeviantArt.
The deadest platform. Please put it on our MySpace.
Bro, I still use MySpace occasionally.
shit
Fuck you.
still alive?
I never had my
What the fuck is MySpace?
I still have access to my MySpace, actually.
Oh my god.
You guys are making
Where's
me
all of
very
it?
sad and disappointed.
I have access to it because I remember what the password was.
I used to have NetBee. It was a Norwegian
Oh my god,
thing.
I
Oh
remember
yeah.
it.
Hey,
What's
hey
that
guys, do you guys remember Hundeparken?
Yes!
Yeah, that shit though.
Bro, I had so
Huda-
many hats. I had
Oh,
I had a way to
same.
get all the bones. And it was just glorious.
Look,
Okay,
I
but
missed
this
that
wasn't-
shit.
Okay, but this wasn't what we were supposed to talk about
No,
today.
it's
Are we
better than-
ready?
No,
Yes.
what we're talking about is the dead, like the dead websites we were just talking about.
you'll
It goes
know
with
the
those
best
stories.
social media
Ghost
platform
sites.
back in the day was RuneScape. Like,
Oh yeah.
don't even at me.
Escape.
I was huge on Gaia Online, dude.
Okay,
More
but
like gay online.
Anyway.
that brings us to what we're supposed to be talking about, which
How is
is
it?
if
Excuse
you
me.
can't
How?
Do the
read,
segue again.
if you can't
What?
read, if you can't read,
Worst segue.
it's ghost theories and stories.
You really
Speaking
shouldn't have
about
put me
Gaia
in,
and
not
dead
put me and Tara right
games.
next to each other. Me and Tara is too much energy. We're gonna take over this very quickly.
No, shut the fuck up.
No.
Ghost stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. It was
Yay.
fun, guys.
We'll see you later. The show now
See
gets
you.
really boring because we're both leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna suck each other off over there. You know how it
Yeah.
is.
Boys
alright,
will be
so we're-
boys.
So we were gonna start off with the Neanderthal
Yeah, we can start.
Oh, you're
conspiracy. So like,
You're just
not really a
jumping head in.
conspiracy. Yeah, because like, well, the whole point is to talk about it, and
You don't
I
wanna
have,
like
I have a lot
preface the
of
topic.
thoughts.
You're just gonna be like, so guys, the Earth is flat, and this is why. It's like, all right.
No, well, Neanderthals were real. It's been proven by actual scientists who
They're just
are, you know, good at their job.
Those were
And
the
yeah,
first
that's what they
ghosts, and that's where we start.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna segue into something else, but like, so I'm gonna kind of bumble them together. So Neanderthals, dinosaurs, anything like, you know, before humans evolved, right? So Neanderthals are like the predecessors to what we became, and like they kind of split off, became different like humanoid species. That's a whole different topic. We can go into that some other day. But what happens when they die? Like, you guys have. I know what Telrin's gonna say.
They died.
They
End of
died.
story.
End of
They
story.
held
The end.
funerals. I don't know.
They
I mean,
become.
they did.
They probably like sank to their.
Wait, no, cannibalism.
Actually,
Ooh, that is
they-
also a
there,
good option.
there was a whole bunch of like I'd have to look into it more, but they did actually mourn their loved ones and did hold ceremonies to.
Then they ate them.
No,
Like
they
we,
weren't
we
cannibals. They knew how to hunt.
we know that Neanderthals had funeral rites. This is the thing that we know. Go on, Nova.
But anyway, it's been like in our cultures throughout the world for thousands of years that when people die, our spirits tend to linger, right? Question
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So my
Sure.
theory,
Okay,
because so
okay.
in
Some would
every
say that.
culture across the world, there's like different stories and different creatures of like, you know, different mythologies that are still seen. I'm gonna use air quotations because there's no solid proof that these are real. I'm not saying, oh, I have evidence, because that's not what we're doing here, because I don't have physical evidence. And until there's like physical evidence, I know people like, you know, Telrin and Ojin who are skeptics, understandably.
Mm.
They won't believe it until there's actual physical proof. but in like, you know, cultures around the world who've never met each other up until like recent years, you know, in the age of like internet and like travel, where it's just openly accessible to literally everyone, no matter how rural you live.
Can I just bring up a counter argument to that, and I will let you go on again?
Yeah, go ahead.
So like the whole thing of like different cultures having the same beliefs and whatnot. You like, if you're a believer, you could definitely say it's like, oh yeah, because it's real. But then you could also be like, yeah, but we're the same species with the same brain that functions in the same way, and our brains are evolved to like see patterns. And also you have to like when you preface it like, oh yeah, thousands of years ago, before modern science, when we couldn't explain most things. So a lot of the things that they saw thousands of years ago can be explained today as like either radiation or solar rays or whatever else, right, depending on the topic. But like my main point is the reasons cultures have similar theories or whatever mythology creatures is because we are the same species with the same functioning brain. Now go back over to the skeptic side of the table.
Okay, sure, that's a valid point. Like you said, if you look at like some of the creatures in lore, they can easily be explained by animals that actually exist. Like for instance, you know, like on the old maps, they had like dragons and all these crazy looking creatures, but like
Never
in
met
modern,
Never met any dragon. Never.
Right.
But like
Yeah,
like
never.
dragons
we're
is
talking
just-
about flesh in the
Yeah,
human
but like-
world. Okay.
like-
Flash dragons.
But like dragons, you can easily akin to people finding, you know, dinosaur bones.
Yeah, fossils and stuff. That I completely understand, because that's, you know, something that you have physical proof of, and that you can say, yeah, no, this is 100% easily explained by like
Sea
the
serpents can
fossils
be
and the animals that actually exist.
Yeah, and sea serpents can be explained as, you know, deranged ass fisherman, been on the sea for a month, hasn't had a lot of fresh water or fresh fruit or
Oh, yeah.
fresh fucking anything.
Like-
Probably been drinking mostly alcohol. He sees a little thing and he like over exaggerates it, tells the story to like his shipmates, and then that story goes, and then that story goes, and you know how one feather turns into a sea serpent, right?
Exactly. There's like actual, like if you said, if you look at like those older maps, they have like the demons and monsters like lurking in the water, but like a lot of them could be explained by, you know, like eels.
Yep.
Or, you know, giant squid, like the kraken. It's an actual thing, maybe
Oh,
not
yeah.
to the size that the lore
We
says
have
it
giant
is.
squids, they're just not, you know, the size
Yeah,
of
not
ships.
that colossal size.
Yeah.
And they're
Fair.
also super, super curious.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
they are such curious creatures.
They are awesome. I
Well,
love them.
Exactly.
The thing with the
Um,
ocean is like we've explored less of the ocean than we have the fucking moon
Mhm.
and like in space. Sorry, our own
Um,
solar system. So like,
not
fuck
just
knows
the
what's
moon.
down there. Like,
Yeah.
like screw. Like we have no idea what's at the bottom of the ocean. For all we know, krakens are real, because
Yeah.
we can't explore the bottom of the ocean because it's too deep. So
Yeah, the pressure is.
like the only like folktale things where I'm like, you know what, I'll suspend my disbelief is stuff is like anything to do with the ocean, because the ocean is
Such an
So-
unknown place.
so unknown and so intraversible with
Exactly.
with current science that we could literally prove that, you know, giant sea serpents exist.
I mean, scientists are finding new species of animals every single year,
Yeah.
especially from the ocean. There's actually like some evidence that recently popped up, proving that there might be you guys know about the Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah.
No.
I know about that one.
They found some like somebody took a picture while they were out in the outback, just kind of doing camping or hiking or whatever, and they took a picture of an animal they saw, and this is relatively recent, and it's kind of hard to tell because the picture's not the greatest quality, as they never are for some reason. But it looks a lot like scientists that have like, you know, looked at the picture were like, that looks a lot like the Tasmanian tiger. Which,
All right, so
and like Australia and Tasmania are widely unexplored.
so
So places
I-
that sorry.
let's back up again though, because podcast topic. So
Yeah.
so yeah, like me and Odin's like, yeah, we can very much well believe that there might be some like monster creature, but now ghost. Back to Nova. This
Right,
is how
sorry.
it's like,
My brain, ADHD. I'm sorry.
That's cool.
You're
That's
fine.
why.
You're
It's
among
cool.
you're among neurodivergents. You're good.
Yeah.
It's fine. No
like
one's
one-
brain works here.
Let's go back to the Neanderthal and dinosaurs, okay? Because this is gonna like segue into like a highly like, what if, like, you know, like say ghosts are real.
Just go.
So let's just say, for the conversation, for the topic's sake, ghosts are real, okay? Just for the topic, not saying that they are 100%.
Tell us your
definitely
theory
real.
first, and then we'll elaborate after.
So when the Neanderthals and the dinosaurs wiped out, because they were wiped out, the dinosaurs specifically are prehistoric creatures, they were wiped out millions of years ago. And where do you think they would reincarnate, or do you think they would, like, if you believe in the reincarnation theory, or would you think that they would just stay?
Well, so science. So you know how everything. So you know how like when the Big Bang happened, there is an amount of energy in the universe, and energy you can never make energy, and you can't lose energy. So whenever something dies, that energy has to go somewhere, right? But you know, you could also argue that up, like, well, things get born all the time. So
Well,
that measures out that energy. So like when you say, where do you think they go? Well, they turn into energy, and then something gets born. But I don't believe that a brontosaurus is now little Timmy over there.
well, the thing with the idea of conservation of energy is it doesn't. I understand what you're trying to say. The thing with conservation of energy, trying to disprove this kind of stuff, is we can measure energy, like we can measure like energy transference and that kind of stuff. The stuff they use to identify ghost sightings and the so-called like what's the device called that they use to track like
EMF.
Or REM pod, or
You can use a REM pod, but
There's so
usually
many
it was
different
the EMF one
EMF is
that
the most
Mm.
pop
people.
culture.
the
Yeah.
electromagnetic field detecting.
yeah. The thing
Yeah.
with the thing with electromagnetic fields and stuff like that is electromagnetic fields are everywhere. The Earth has a massive one.
Yeah, it's like a natural
Like-
occurring
Like
thing.
the Earth, literally, the entire universe functions based on, well, from what we know currently about astrophysics, and well, just physics in general, the entire universe is built around the theory of electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
So to pull out a device that measures electromagnetic fields and go, this energy proves that there was ghosts here, is like, kind of, that's where I'm like that. You're kind of, you're using apples and oranges here. Like
Yeah,
this.
You know?
Also just the fact that in modern
So-
days we have so many electromagnetic fields all over the place that
Yes.
we have made as well that
Which-
reach quite far.
Which is why it's both like a bullshit but not a bullshit method for me, at least, to measure this shit. Because like if you go around your house, you're gonna find lots of electromagnetic fields because
Right.
hello, your
Everything gets
computer.
electricity.
You have
Yeah.
proper
like,
wiring in your house.
You have copper wiring. You have, maybe like me, you have heated floors. Like shit. Like
Ooh.
there is electricity around you everywhere, which is
Yes.
why when people go on like paranormal investigations and they use the EMF thingy, if they are good investigators, they go out of their way to disprove any
Oh yeah.
involvement from the outer world, kind of. So like if there's electricity in the house, they will try to turn off as much like light and stuff as possible. They will go back over the same area multiple times to see if it changes and stuff like that. So it's not directly that I want to say it's a pseudoscience. Like
It really is.
spiritualism and stuff is a pseudoscience. And if you believe it, then it's true. If you don't, then it doesn't. It's the same with a religion. That's how I always see it.
Exactly.
The thing to cycle back to like the reincarnation theory is because I've read about cases where people have memories from previous people's lives. It happens a lot in India where they've got a lot of Buddhist religion. There's lots of recorded cases of people saying this person is our family member reincarnated, And I will honestly admit, I have no explanation for how that happened other than a shitload of hallucinating, and it's just also a small child.
Yeah.
But the actual, and obviously they do the TV shows that go into it kind of like dramatize it a lot.
Yeah, they dramatize it a
yeah.
lot.
The one thing I'll say about reincarnation is I'm willing to believe that reincarnation exists in some element, because we have no evidence of what happens to someone after they die, and we have no evidence of what happens to the consciousness. And I also really love the theory, and this is kind of ghost story, kind of not, of like this idea of like joint consciousness via electromagnetic fields, of how can like people can know things that other people know without ever speaking to them. This shit happens, and it's like it's really interesting.
Which kind of segues me into what my actual my more main theory is that when the Neanderthals, prehistoric, whatever, when they all died, I feel like not all of them either reincarnated or went back to where into the I guess the cycle, I'm gonna call it. That's like the best way to really say it from my brain, I guess. Like with their energy and what happens to them when they die. And you know how like in every culture there's like different spiritualized creatures, like non-humanoid creatures, demons, whatever you want to call them, right? And if you in the supernatural world, if somebody let's say somebody really fucking evil dies, their spirit can get powerful in the afterlife over a period of time because they're able to absorb the energy around them and use that to feed themselves. Karma?
You're talking about karma. The idea of someone with bad karma becomes a powerful spirit in their afterlife.
Because some people, you know how some people are good people and they die and they just become just ghosts.
No.
No,
Yeah.
isn't it the
I
evil?
don't know about that personally.
But when say somebody who's a really mean, malicious person, when they die, they become a spirit, but then they don't want to move on because they're like, this is cool, I can do whatever the fuck I want now, and they just absorb the energy and become, I guess, stronger. I'm gonna use air quotations because it's hard to convey what I'm saying without emotions. But they become more, I guess, stronger over a period of time. So my theory for that, things like dinosaurs or non-humanoid prehistoric creatures, they kind of just grow their essence, spirits, or whatever you want to call them, just grow stronger, but kind of they're not sentient per se. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but they kind of feed off of their instinct to just hunt, kill, and do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I have something else with that, actually. I have something else with that. Instead of years that they gain more power, energy, kind of with the years going by and become stronger with that. I think it's more with becoming stronger with the people that's in the house with them. So if they're more days or years with the same people, they feed off of their energy and become stronger with that.
Okay, yeah, I can see that, because if you believe in something so much, the Catholic Church believes demons exist so much that it's something to be feared of, to be afraid of, and people put so much energy into being so afraid of something, it gives it more power.
The problem
the power of belief.
The problem with that theory is, well, my problem with that theory is that stress is shown to cause people's bodies to deteriorate, regardless of their physical, health condition. This is documented fact.
Yeah.
People will develop illnesses by being stressed. So normally the proof for when people's energies, in quotation marks, are being taken on by the spirits is normally proven by the person got weaker by living in the house, and that's kind of the they stayed in an area, they believed in this, they stressed themselves out about it, and their physical body became weaker over time. I attribute that to them stressing themselves out, not sleeping, not eating, and then slowly causing their physical health to deteriorate, not the presence of some supernatural element.
Mhm.
Also have the whole of like, you very much have like a split table there. You have the left side who's like the believers and the right side who are the skeptics. I not only do you like bring up the theory of like ghosts, but now you also are introducing another aspect of like this whole other like energy. Like, what is that though? Is it like, is it the ghosts that are eating people's souls? And then what happens when they die? Do they like not become ghosts because they don't have a soul / energy left? And also, I still don't quite get how that has much to do with the Neanderthals. Does that mean that every Neanderthal and every dinosaur that died are just evil, malicious spirits? And why aren't there more of them? And like there were a lot of dinosaurs and there were a lot of Neanderthals. So why aren't people dying left and right of these like angry ass ghosts all the time?
Good question. So it's kind of like when everybody dies, right? Everything dies.
Yes, nobody has
Sometimes
survived
the
this.
energy, will get recycled and go back
Life's a
and do
bitch,
what.
and then you die. Exactly.
And like just what nature wants to happen is you die, your energy goes back into, I guess, everything around you, or reincarnated depending on what your beliefs are, or even go to like heaven, hell, whatever.
You turn to dirt and you feed a tree.
But like
That's
I
also
said,
part of it.
sometimes yeah,
it's
that's
kind
true.
of reincarnation, sure.
Sometimes the energy doesn't go anywhere. This is my beliefs that when something dies, not all the time does the energy go back into the cycle,
But I'm asking
and that the
you,
energy goes
is,
somewhere.
What is that energy? Is it just
A
like
soul.
Yeah, so like when you say energy, you're talking about souls, because in your previous argument you talked about the soul and the energy, so you bring up two different points, but they're
basically
interchangeable.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
if
just
I can
trying to
just-
understand her
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. No. A different way, or maybe the same way but differently explained is, in my brain everything has a soul, like
Mhm.
even a rock.
Yeah.
The only thing is that a rock isn't sentient enough to have harsh feelings for something, like when you're walking over it in a parking lot or in a wood or something
Yeah.
like that. They can't feel. They're still there. They're still physical. They're still a rock, but they do not feel. That is where I kind of, because feelings are extremely strong.
Okay, so
When we're talking about feeling, are we talking about like a sense of self?
I was going
or-
to explain.
Okay.
So if you just give me like 1 second, I'm gonna explain. So, short explanation. Your curiosity might be somewhere out there in the world looking at something. Because in my brain, it is not the physical, that's not physical at all. It's not the soul per se that gets like left behind, but it is, for example, the anger of a person. Their anger is lingering. Literally have a case of that where my dad lives right now, where there's an angry spirit. He stomps around. He's very angry. He was very angry in life too. And that is what I attribute to like ghosts and stuff like that, is that feeling, that energy. Where the fuck does that go when you put it out into the world?
It's like kind of like how if somebody's in a bad mood, right? And you walk into the and then they walk into a room, you can feel that anger. It's kind of like a sense. It's kind of like that tingle on the back of your neck. It's like makes you uncomfortable.
can I propose a theory as to what that is, and can I propose some
Go ahead.
some science as to what I
Oh,
believe?
please!
that
I've
is?
always been wondering.
So humans and most animals have something, as you know, called a fight or flight response. Your brain is subconsciously trained to detect danger. If someone's body will give off certain signs that they are in a aggressive mood. Their muscles will be twitching, their eyes will be narrow, they'll have blood vessels like bulging out of their skin, not bulging, they'll have blood vessels more present in their skin. They might be sweating.
Furrowed brows.
Your body, pheromones also exist. Your brain will detect those things before you yourself, your conscious thought process, will be able to actively go, that person's angry. And so when you walk into a room and you feel that presence of that person's not in a good mood, because your brain's already like subconsciously setting off like the warning bells because it's detected either your eyes have seen something or there's a very like small scent in the air, or just the way they are carrying themselves. Your brain is trained to recognize patterns, and as soon as it recognizes a pattern that lines up with aggression in a human being, it goes, that person's in a bad mood, and so then you go into fight or flight mode. So you're
So how do you then explain it when it comes to people that literally, like for example me, cannot read people at all, but still feel these things?
because
Before
that's,
I even see people, before I even like, I will notice if someone's been in my areas
Like
without touching. How do you explain that then?
I would like just like I don't
'Cause
know your.
I understand.
Can I please?
Yeah,
I don't know your personal experience. It's impossible for me to know your personal experience because I'm not you. But we understand that every animal has instincts. We are animals. Even if our brain functions differently because of neurodivergence, we still all have an instinct. And this thing Ojan is bringing up, it's more what you would akin to instinct. Fight or flight is part of our human instinct. Like, there are probably dumbass fucking birds who still have instincts. You might have a neurodivergent bird, we don't know, but they still have the instinct to do what millions of years of evolutions have taught them to do. So it could be part of it. I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not like disregarding that. Yes, human beings
That's definitely a thing.
excellent at pattern recognition.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have evolved to where we are.
Yeah, to a fault almost.
so the thing with humanity as well, and humans in general, our brains are so incredibly complicated. We don't really understand how they work. We understand some of how the human brain works. There's a lot of the human brain that we do not quite understand how it works.
Which is kind of like tying into what she's talking about, is that, for instance, I can tell when somebody is irritated, or like if somebody can feel that you're irritated, but you're on the phone. You can't get that sense, or you can't get like it doesn't trigger that physical instinct or the physical smell, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's if
Yeah,
it's like
I
over the
understand
phone
what
or
you're
over the
saying.
internet, it's like you can just sense it,
Yeah, and
and
that's
it gives you like
probably
a feeling.
yeah, and that vibe that you're talking about, from what I understand, is you picking up on pattern recognition in their voice.
Yeah.
You've heard someone talk to you in that tone of voice before. That person has, be it like they're talking slowly, they're talking quietly, they're talking quickly, they're enunciating certain parts of the word. Your brain's going, that when someone did this to me before, that meant this. And so your brain's going, maybe they're in a bad mood.
Language is such a unique thing to humans that like, there are no other animals that has language like we do. So they have
Dolphins.
real it's not
dolphins.
the same as no.
Dolphins are evil. Don't change my mind. You can't.
They are.
Yeah, I could go on a side tangent about the dolphin language because it's interesting, but
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if we're on the topic of dolphins, I just listened to a podcast about like the leading, about the leading like
Sorry about the cough.
dolphinologists that studies like dolphin language, and they have pretty much determined that it's not language because language has very strict rules, whereas like dolphin language is more akin to here is food, here is danger. It's not like hello Tom, how was your day today? That's not what they do. It's instinctual driven, so it's not a language. Language has a very special speech or rules, a set of rules, and like with that, when you're on the phone with someone and you're feeling, oh, there are vibes here, it's because you're picking up incredibly minute things that you won't be consciously aware of because it's just happening automatically. Like your heart is beating, your pulse is going and breathing. Like that's not something you have to consciously do. It's just your body is aware of it and takes care of it. And the same is like when you pick up these vibes on the phone, again, this is my belief. You are just subconsciously picking up on it, and it's your trained behavior or your evolutionary instinct that is like being like, okay, this person is mad.
Yeah, I mean, evolution's a good point because humans and every animal, but humans especially, we evolved to, we've evolved where we are by the process of natural selection. And one of the main ways we became so dominant on this planet is our brains. Our brains are a wonder of evolution. And they're amazing at, like we say, pattern recognition, communication. They are so smart that sometimes they make mistakes because they fill in the blanks by themselves, which is what I believe a lot of.
For example.
They believe a lot of this kind of how do you explain why my brain did this thing is probably your brain has got a few pieces of something and has then gone, all right, I'll just fill in the rest, and then that means it's this thing, and then your body, and then it sends all the signals to your body to be on alert mode. Like, I've walked into a room before, or I've been sat doing something, and probably because of my mental health with my anxiety, my brain's decided, hey, let's just be frightened right now because some wires have fired in the wrong way. Some neurons have fired in the wrong way.
That's literally what, like, anxiety and panic attacks are, is your brain being like, hey, I'm in danger. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So the idea of saying like there's a bad energy in this room, which is a lot of what this kind of spiritual talk is, I believe can be attributed to someone's brain picking up on a couple of signals, their brain filling in the blank and them running with it. I'm not saying those people, at no point will I ever say those people are delusional. I will just say that I think there's perhaps an element of they're misinterpreting what their brain is doing, but I don't know their brain and they don't know mine.
Also, it's their reality.
Exactly.
That is a very important thing to just like point out.
Yeah, but I'm concerned with the evidence that I have in front of me and what we as a collective can decide based on what we see.
Yeah.
As we're on the topic of bad vibes, we could like immediately bring up the whole thing of like, creepy houses, haunted places, blah 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 blah. Like, in my belief, like, because I'm sure that like with Nova and Lula, like if you go to like a creepy old dingy house, it's probably, oh, you guys might sense this is haunted, and I'm not like calling you out or like shitting on you. It's like because you guys believe this. Like if you go to like a creepy ass house in the woods that is completely dilapidated and fucked, there's probably something in there that's gonna be like, this is haunted, this is horrible.
Always.
No.
Nobody's like that. So I got to 50%, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I said some, not always. Sometimes, yeah, but I've been to houses that are completely normal, like regular suburban houses. You wouldn't like, and you go inside, it looks completely normal, like a standard
like 10
family
years ago.
Here. Yeah,
Completely
But-
normal.
there's something wrong with it. Like the house I moved into when I first met Ein, I moved in, it was like a normal house, everybody that lived there were just regular people, and I would experience things like at night, or not at night, just in general. The upstairs area was just not a good, it's just one of those places that makes you tense up, right? And there's no reason to be tense because I was friends with everybody there. The house was a very comfortable environment given by the people that lived there. But when I was sleeping, I woke up, like I was fully conscious, right? And I thought Ein was there still, but he had left for work hours earlier. But I heard somebody, and all of the other roommates were at work. So I was home completely alone, because I even clarified it with everybody that lived there. The door to our bedroom opened up, I heard heavy footsteps, and somebody sat on the bed. And when I turned over, because I thought it was Ein, nobody was there. And I was fully awake.
The point I was trying to reach, though, was like the average person who is at least like ghost curious or
Ghost curious.
or whatever
Bro,
you wanna call it.
I don't
Calling
believe in
my
ghosts. I'm ghost curious.
People who are a little bit more open-minded, and because there are people you'll ask, and they're like the usual fucking like normie responses, like, oh yeah, there's more between heaven and earth, like those people.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but like whenever you like, if you take those to like a creepy old house, they're like, oh yeah, that's haunted. My
Yeah, I mean,
point
like
is
people
gonna-
who are just like
my
average. are
my
like, "Ugh,
point
that's
is
haunted."
gonna be that I still believe that that is learned behavior.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
only from
Oh
like
yeah, it is.
instinct, but like from pop culture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like okay, I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
do.
what it is.
Like old creepy house, you immediately think, oh shit, that shit's haunted.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and nothing happens because hey
It
yo,
feels
it's
completely
just
normal.
a dilapidated house.
Yeah,
And then like with the normies, because the point of energy, bad vibes, like with normies, they will come to these places and they will like feel a chill in the air, or like the wind will be extra cold, or they will start shivering and stuff. That is like learned behavior. They're taught to
Yeah.
be afraid of these things. So
Yeah.
like it's the same of like, if you believe that you have the fucking influenza, give it a week. Like if you fully believe it, give it a week. You have the influenza now because your brain will manifest that shit to you.
that's the placebo.
Placebo.
Not only placebo, because placebo inherently dictates that it's false, but your brain will literally make you sick. It will literally
That's
like
true.
lower your immune system and make you more susceptible.
I mean,
if
I know
you
that's an
believe-
actual thing.
Yeah.
But where we're talking about, for
Definitely worked
instance,
myself
when I
sick
bought my
before.
house, because I was like, oh, my house is totally gonna be haunted, right? Because a lady died in here, like literally, like
Yeah.
less than 10 years before we moved in. I didn't get any vibes at all, really. Like I was just like, this is a very happy and comfortable place to be in. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it.
But back to your Neanderthal point.
No, can I just say something about the houses first?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Before we go
Oh,
on.
there's also
Shoot
something
in whenever you can, huh?
There's
am
also
trying.
something that I wanna throw in.
Okay.
to get-
If you guys want us to stop talking, just say and we'll shut up.
No,
Well,
it's
otherwise-
interesting.
Otherwise
no,
I'm-
that's
Otherwise, I'm
that's-
gonna just talk.
That's
that's
counterproductive.
why
Okay.
I sometimes just tell you guys to shut up because now it's my turn to talk.
Okay, my turn.
Yes.
Personally, with like the haunted houses and everything, I love going to like the funny haunted houses because, haha, it's kind of fun. Because those are made to be scary. But the houses that has been left in the forest for too long and just like overgrown, I don't feel anything about those houses being they're not feeling like haunted exactly, but more houses or buildings with where you can literally see blood spatter or it's been a mess. They've basically just taken their phone or like one important thing and they had to run out. Those places give me more the heebie-jeebies, you know? Because then
Oh,
you can
yeah,
physically
houses.
see how
Like a place
people
of
were
history.
scared or just like, no, we're not even going back in there to like pack up our shit. No. We're just
Yeah.
hauling out of there now. So that's
I ain't going
my
back in there.
thing. Yeah, that's my thing with the haunted houses and like abandoned places mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Places
Jose.
that have history, basically.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I grew up in a very rough part of big city, but there was still like an abandoned barn there. And I went there with my friends because obviously, like, if you're not scared, you should go into the haunted house and not be scared. And I went in there and I got this was when I was like 10, right? So I was still a little scared of the dark. And so,
Mhm.
like, I didn't get any, like, bad vibes from the house. I was just like, this place is dark, and that's it. But also,
wow,
like,
it's really dark.
the,
Sorry.
I get, like... So, my grandmother, just, like, I should say while she was passing, because she passed in the room that I sleep in. That's a little spooky.
Mhm.
When I say it out loud. But she was in this room and she had passed away, and this was before I had started sleeping in here. But there was a weird like no one wanted to come into this room because from what my sisters and my mom had said, like they could still feel her in the room, and like even though I never personally felt it, like that's something that I wanted to like bring up because like my family does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And every time around her like anniversary of her death, like my family would always get dreams, and I've only had one dream where I've like dreamt of my grandmother, uh, like around the time that she died,
Okay.
because other people like have that could just be because oh hey, we're starting to remember her, and this is around the time she died, so obviously your brain is gonna be like, let's try remembering those in like dream form.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
could
that could
just
be-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've also
So-
like slept in a room with where people have died, but I've never gotten like any vibes or feelings or anything that they're lingering still. But I don't know if it's because they didn't have like strong emotions about staying, and leaving their energy or soul or whatever. Because I think it's for me, ghost. The thing that makes ghosts stay is the feeling they last have. Basically, if you're very angry, you put out like the angry emotions to like stay there, and that's the only thing that's there. Only your angry emotions with your energy.
I was actually gonna say, oh god. I was actually gonna say something along those lines, like when somebody dies, whether it be intentional, non-intentional, or if they had a strong feeling like attachment to the location, right?
Yeah.
Like say for somebody, for instance, if somebody's brutally murdered, right? Sometimes they'll feel in that moment strongly attached to what is happening. And I feel like that can, or like the area they're in, and that can force a person to be stuck there. Or if somebody like loves their home and they pass away peacefully, they might choose to stay because they're like, oh, this was my home, and I just want to make sure that the house is okay.
okay. Can I ask a question
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To who?
to Nova?
What's
Okay.
up?
In
What
this
did you,
in this
homie?
scenario, would you say that spirits have a choice, or would you say that spirits don't have a choice? 'Cause in my opinion, it has to be one or the other. If we're gonna if we're gonna say that ghosts are real, we have to have an idea of, do ghosts get to choose to stay
So-
behind, or is it involuntary and they are locked in
How-
due to powerful emotion?
How I view it is that it is a choice ultimately. But I know what you guys, some of the believers are thinking like some people have no choice. But if they don't know that they are not alive, they don't know that they have the choice to leave. It's like it's one of the best examples in my brain is that somebody who is an addict, they can choose to get help. They can choose to change their life, right? It's basically a choice, but if they're not aware that they have that option, they're not going to make that choice to move on or better themselves. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to anybody here.
No, makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna devil advocate myself here. So there could be a world where both are real.
Mhm.
Because the most usual occurrence of like ghost sightings or whatever, at least that I'm aware of, I might be wrong, I'm not super into the world, but to my knowledge, are like malevolent spirits. So you could be like, yo, if you were a dickhead and you died with a lot of evil fucking charge in you, you stay, figure your shit out. You can't go, you can't get on the train until you figure your shit out.
Or they
If you
choose
die-
to stay because they're assholes.
I'm trying to give you a point here where
Okay.
both of them can be revealed. Let me finish the thought here.
Okay, you're
If
fine,
you're a
sorry.
dickhead, universe is like, nah, you figure your shit out before you can go to heaven or whatever you believe in. If you're a good person, it could be like, no, I want to stay and watch over my children and grandchildren and whatever. Or yes, I don't feel like I need to do that, so I'm willing to go to the next step. There is a world, like if ghosts are real, there is a scenario where both of those possibilities could work out.
Mhm.
I'm saying it's true though. Just, you know.
Yeah, no.
I'm not saying it's true, but
Well,
I guess my
um,
I'm trying to see your side.
Yeah.
That's what you do in a discussion. I'm trying to see your side.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Where it's kind of like it's situational, like spirit to spirit, person to person. Some people are unaware that they're dead because it could be like a sudden death and it just happened suddenly, they weren't expecting it, and then they're like, oh, I'm still here but I can't leave for some reason, and so they're just stuck in a loop. There's also poltergeists that are quite literal physical manifestations of energy, negative, usually negative.
Yeah.
I've never really heard of a poltergeist that's a good energy, but it's a lot of negative things that happened, energy from things that happened in one place, and it's stuck there because it's the energy is tied to that location. So it's like having a lightning bug in a jar, and you shake it, right, and it's trying to escape, but it can't escape because the jar's closed. Or
You're saying
a light bulb.
physical manifestation.
Yeah, a physical man, because poltergeists, those are usually the ones that are known to like throw objects and move stuff, because it's literally like basically like an electronic physical representation of all that negativity clumped into like like a being.
No, like I know the lore of a poltergeist. You don't need to explain that to me, but you're saying physical manifestation, implying as it has physically manifested, as I should be able to either see or touch this thing.
Yes, because
have any examples on that?
It can physically touch you. Like if you like feel somebody shove you, that can be a physical manifestation.
Well, I can't touch it, can I?
No, not not
it's
normally.
manifested,
No.
but it's not a physical manifestation.
I mean, it would be physical because how else would it be able to move objects? That's what I'm saying is physical.
Can I offer a somewhat of what I believe the explanation for that to be?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, in chemistry, specifically electromagnetic chemistry, you're taught a very basic theory that all particles have energy. They all have kinetic energy. And what determines a state of matter is how much energy these particles have. Plasma, which is the highest form of it, which is the most energized version, the particles are bouncing around so fast that they can't really be observed. That it looks like fire, you know? Because fire isn't really a gas, it isn't really a liquid, it isn't really a solid.
Yeah.
So like the particles have so much energy that they create like sparks and heat, and so much heat that it can like burn you. Gases is like oxygen and air and that kind of thing. They have lots of energy. They bounce to the edge of the room. They're very far apart.
Can I just point out one thing, just really quick? That is why they say that poltergeists usually leave like a warm area where they've touched something.
Because they are that. That's what they are. Exactly what you're describing. That's what it is.
Okay, so Ojan was right with telling it more like science-y.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's basically the physical manifestation of the energy particles that is left behind from traumatic.
You're claiming they're plasma, correct?
I guess that's because.
So standing next to a poltergeist should burn me then, or at least I should feel it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why when you enter a place that would have a poltergeist, you have that feeling, like kind of like the fight or flight. It's the fight or flight feeling that it's giving you.
Can I finish?
Because
my
it's a
point about
dangerous.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, I was very
so
curious,
sorry.
but I also wanted to just point out that.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
liquid. My next point is liquids have a little bit. They fill up containers, but they can't like bounce around a room. Okay, but they still have a little bit of kinetic energy. A lot of people believe that solids, particles don't move. That's false. Solid particles move very small amounts constantly. They bounce into each other constantly, and that's why how a solid becomes a liquid is the particles move around enough to where they start rolling over each other. I think when people say, "Oh my god, I saw like this thing fell off a shelf with no input," it's the 1 in a quadrillion chance of the solid particles vibrating in such a way that they've been vibrating for so long, because who knows how long these solid particles have been there, that it causes it causes a little bit of movement, and then it creates a sound or something. It creates a creak or something.
I like this theory. This is something I could believe in.
That's an interesting theory, but what about physical touch when I'm literally laying in my bed? I have nothing on my upper body. There is nobody else in the room, and I can feel someone physically lay a hand and feeling the energy from said creature. It was a little girl. Don't worry about it. I can physically feel her trying to put her energy into me.
That's kind of creepy.
I mean, the only way I could imagine that to be what that sensation could be, based on what you described, is nerve endings firing for no reason, which happens to me all the time. So
it never happens to me except for that moment where
so when
or like when that happened. I've also seen her, by the way. So
okay, well, let's stay on the physical touch thing for a second.
yeah.
The physical touch thing, I would akin to that to muscle spasm and similar things where your nerve endings are firing off involuntarily. I have this all the time. When you've probably heard me, or as some of you have heard me, when I randomly grunt, it's not because I'm being creepy, it's because I randomly twitch. My entire body spasms.
I did not know that, but now that I know that, that makes sense.
And it causes me to sometimes make noises, or because I feel uncomfortable, I make noises. So you might akin that. You might think I'm possessed. I don't know. Maybe you think that's what's going on here. I think it's my nerve endings firing randomly and causing me to twitch.
I have that with restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, I literally am doing that right now with my leg.
Yeah, I have that
So,
same thing.
But it's instead of it being restless leg, I am literally like jolting in a direction.
As somebody who actually experiences that as well, the same as you do, there is a massive difference in the feeling between the two.
What's the person in chat who says I think I'm possessed? I don't. I'm offering stuff to the discussion.
No, like
I think they were joking, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a funny way to see it.
I've been physically touched by, I guess what we'll call a ghost of some type. I never saw it, but it literally was like somebody took their hand and ran it down my arm. And it's definitely, it was a hand. I felt all 5 fingers. And it's definitely a different sensation than a muscle spasm. Because I've had muscle spasms all over my body before. Yeah. It's a completely different feeling.
Can I just ask then, like in that moment, like before that happened, were you at rest? Were you tensed? Like what?
I was actually just casually just standing there talking to my friends, and
yeah, okay.
No one was.
I was casually laying in my bed, but I was fully awake because I was playing a game.
Yeah. So lately, I've developed a lot of these firings. I forget where, like nerve-ending firings, and it usually happens when I'm at like extreme rest. I'm just like, minding myself, playing a game, whatever, hang with people. But I get these sensations that are like fucking hundreds of bugs fucking crawling over me, and then I freak out and I go to check, and there's nothing there. And what it is, and then what it is just I am relaxed, so my body is like, okay, we should make sure that we're still functioning, and they're firing random ass nerve endings. And that's
like being itchy when you're falling asleep. I'm aware of that.
Or it could be like
it was a hand. Like I could feel it was a hand.
I understand. Like I am not here saying you are crazy or insane. That's not the thing. It's an open discussion.
I understand.
I'm just saying from my worldview, this is an explanation. We live in a incredibly chaotic universe. Like fucking anything could happen. There could be a ghost, sure, but the thing is it just where I live and have been in my childhood and stuff? Is it just not haunted whatsoever? Are there no ghosts in those areas? Are there higher ghost densities in some areas? Because I have never experienced a ghost in my entire fucking life.
A lot of people live their lives without experiencing anything.
Exactly. So What it sounds like is that you have absolutely no sensitivity for this shit at all, and they're not interested in you. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a rise out of you maybe the first time, or maybe you just were a very skeptical kid from an early age and just shut that shit off, just not believing any of that shit could ever happen. Like, there are many different reasons that you could have never experienced anything like this.
I think to say, so the thing with sensitivity for these kind of things, to say someone has a sensitivity for it, would that not, does that imply that everyone who doesn't believe just has no sensitivity to it? Or does
No,
that
no, no,
imply
no,
that-
no. That is simply my way of understanding when people say nothing like this has ever happened to me. When I was a child and growing up, and even now, things happen around me that have no explanation. And the only thing I can think is, okay, that's a ghost. Fuck off.
Can I bring up a point without you interpreting as me attacking you, and just see it from
I
my
haven't.
point? No, but like just take, because what I'm gonna say might sound like I'm attacking you, but I want you to look at it from my point of view, like with
Yes.
my like not my skepticism. Just imagine you're a skeptic for a second.
Mhm.
With you experiencing things as a kid, could it like be, because it could be a multitude of things. It could be that you have a very vivid imagination, and the fact that you're neurodivergent, and maybe you were highly into like horror as a kid, or like mysteries as a kid, and you're like, oh, I wish I lived in a reality where more of these things were. So when these natural world occurrences happened, your brain interpreted this as, oh, this is the supernatural.
No, because I literally have nothing behind my eyes. If that makes sense.
So you never read any interesting things as a kid, or you weren't into like fantasy or those?
I was extremely interested in dinosaurs. That's like
Dinosaurs.
I've just always sort of.
Are we gonna have the discussion about dinosaurs?
Oh my
Rawr.
god.
We're actually
Rawr.
not finished with that one. I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
with the one main thing I'm very curious about until the dinosaurs and Neanderthals are kind of finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of
But-
just took this tangent and ran with
Yeah.
it.
But
Yeah.
it's been a good discussion though with everything.
I've been
But yeah,
highly
no,
interested
I'm-
in this
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
I'm not saying that that couldn't be the case, but the reality was I saw things that should not have been there. I have seen Philip, which was the name of the ghost in my old house.
Oh, did you name your ghost?
No, that was his name before he died.
You can't just
Oh.
name a ghost, Jose.
We actually
They have a name.
We actually found it out through like some
I named the
weird
ghost.
things. But
Did you ask
but,
them your
but,
name?
like, they never got my name. But like
Mm.
I understand how a lot of people can be like, oh, but what about these things? What about these things? And what about these things? That could all very well mean that I'm just batshit insane. I understand.
I wouldn't
I
say
accept
it
that.
means you're insane. I would say it means you perhaps want an explanation for something you can't explain. You're not perhaps. I'm just offering an explanation.
Yeah,
Perhaps
no.
You're uncomfortable with the idea of not knowing what it is, and so you say it's ghost. I am much
Maybe.
more comfortable to have these things happen to me. Be like, we don't know what that is. Cool, moving on. And that's
Yeah.
how I
Like,
react to it.
I think it's super
Yeah.
cool that we live in a world where we cannot explain everything, because that means there is more for us to explore.
That's
Yeah,
Instead of just
exactly.
being like this unknown thing, the science can't explain it. Oh, so it's God or a demon or it's ghosts or like no, but like, could we like just take a step back and actually like approach it with the scientific approach, and with that, because some would say like, oh yeah, ghost hunters. Well, with that, there are some
Oh my god, they do so much
quote
stupid shit.
unquote ghost hunters out there that completely sully the name. I've seen some documentaries of
Mhm.
like actual ghost hunters who like go out of their way, like you brought up earlier, that go fucking way out of their way, and they end their show with like, oh, it was the electrical disturbance, there isn't a ghost there and stuff like that. Like that shit I will watch, because that is actually people trying to approach it in a scientific method. Then you have some motherfuckers who like whisper into a recording, listen to it a billion times, like, oh yeah, it's Elvis talking about his fucking demon sandwiches. Ooh, it's like,
Yeah, I have no respect for people that reject the scientific process. And a lot of
Oh,
these
yeah,
ghost
no.
hunters go, fuck the
Yeah,
scientific
100%.
process. They just go, oh my god, there was movement, ghost. It's like, no, there's a scientific process. You have to
Yeah.
define a hypothesis. You have to
It's-
eliminate as many external variables as possible. You have to change one thing in the environment, and then you have to go from there. And you have to collect data, gather it, and
Yeah.
you can't just take one anomaly and therefore say that your theory is proof, which is where a lot of this tends to fall.
Sorry.
A lot of this tends to fall apart with, like, you have people who genuinely want to prove the existence of spiritualism, and these are the what's the word? Spiritual aspects of spiritual
Spiritualism.
beliefs, and they actually try and present a scientific approach, and that gets drowned out with the clickbait YouTube video people.
Yeah, which is very
I'm guilty
sad.
of watching
Which is
that.
why
Same
which is
thing
why
I did.
I am also
We remember to
guilty.
leave a like.
Yeah, which is why in this
I'm
discussion
guilty
I'm
of
trying to
watching that.
offer, I'm trying to
Guilty.
provide you with some of my knowledge that I have about the scientific explanation for the current scientific explanation we have for the universe, and see if you can perhaps fit it into your own theory, or if you're willing to accept that it explains some of the things you've once found unexplainable.
Like, I am more than happy to be wrong. I'm more than happy to be
Yeah,
proven
I'd love to be wrong.
That someone is like, look, we have conclusive evidence that the supernatural is real. I'd be like, oh, sick. I'm dumb. I was wrong. Cool. Let's
Yeah,
go
as
from there.
someone who has been very interested in science since a very young age, the most exciting part of science is when you're so catastrophically wrong, you find something else. That's how most amazing discoveries come about. That's how penicillin was created. Somebody fucked up and we got penicillin.
Yeah,
That's
actually
true.
very
And this
funny.
is why it's very interesting to hear like everybody's take on the same thing, even if it's like difficult to let the other people understand or actually kind of think the same as you, because nobody thinks the same and
The
everybody
problem-
experience everything differently, right?
Yeah.
The issue is, of course, when I feel like sometimes when people have these discussions, they go, well, the science is this, and they then dismiss the argument because they have science they think they have science on their side, instead of trying to apply science to the situation and seeing if perhaps it can be used to prove or disprove elements of the theories that, you know, these spiritualistic theories.
Yeah.
The only way we're ever going to get any real answers is to actually try and use the science to prove it. And I currently have the stance that the science disproves it. If the science changes, then my theory has to change.
Yeah.
That's how science is. Like, whenever we
Yeah.
prove something, like, we have to change a lot of things.
Yeah. If we prove that the Earth is banana-shaped, which we won't, but let's say we do, we have to completely rewrite so many fundamental theories that we use.
Yeah.
Oh my
But,
god,
like-
imagine.
Oh my god.
If we were to prove that, can we all at least agree that if we were to one day prove that ghosts are real and that we somehow could communicate with them, capitalism would fucking make bank out of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
We would
true.
fucking enslave ghosts in a heartbeat.
Yeah. They're already
Those-
kind of doing that with all the haunted hotels that you can live
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and be
like
like, oh, this
completely
is the
exploiting
haunted
them.
room. Yeah.
I mean,
They're
Oh my
that's
God,
really
what
doing
clickbait
it.
YouTube videos are. It's people making money off of something. that
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
Explained.
Exploiting them.
Okay, back to dinosaurs.
Oh, we're
Love
back to dinosaurs. What's your
Honestly-
favorite dinosaur?
I don't.
What's
I
the
don't
one
know.
with the pointy tail that swing? The one with like the
Here,
blazing tail.
so
Ankylosaurus.
That one.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
The thing that wanted you to talk about this months ago, Nova, was when I brought up the point of, hey, how come whenever people like see goats, it's mostly like either from like Victorian era and up? Where the fuck are all the Neanderthal ghosts?
Oh, right. That's what. Because I think because they've been around for so long that they kind of lost sense of what and who they are. So they kind of become like this twisted or distorted version of themselves. Like a good example. Oh, here. This is what I really wanted to talk about. So like,
Yeah.
you know how here we have things like cryptids. Like people are like, oh, there's like the
Bigfoot.
I'm good. That's a whole different thing with me. Bigfoot
Okay.
is its own thing.
Okay, yeah, you know what?
Bigfoot is
You're
its
right.
own thing.
Bitch, you're right.
I have
I'm
a theory
sorry.
about Bigfoot, and I think it's an actual animal. Either
Right,
way.
okay.
I believe you.
But anyway, I'm talking about like
Chupacabra.
That's not.
Chupacabra is actually an actual
Sure, sure.
animal. Here, let me look up local. local lore.
We were so
Creatures?
close to getting to the point.
We almost got back. We
No, but
almost
this-
got
Now
back.
she's-
but
now
this-
she's
yeah.
leaving.
But this is the thing. This is actually the point.
So here's a good one. There's the Angeliastor. It's a mythical creature, okay, right?
Okay.
But I think that it's like a lot of these mythical creatures that people are still seeing or witnessing, like to this day, are the souls of these prehistoric or like predecessors that have lost sense of who they are, and they kind of just distort it over time.
Okay, so in that view, are you telling me that Neanderthal Bob turned into Mothman?
Yes.
Potentially,
yeah.
or maybe Mothman was a prehistoric, like there's like an owl that was absolutely fucking gigantic.
Sure.
Maybe it's
You
the
had me at
spirit of that.
owl, and now
I-
my heart is like, there was.
So,
Yeah, it was pretty big.
my
It was fucking huge.
logic with stuff like that, when there's like, is normally it's a genetic defect. That's literally what evolution is based
Mhm.
on. You end up with genetic defects within populations, and if those defects are useful, they become the norm. If they are not useful, such as gigantism, which is normally very not useful because of the strain it places on organs,
Mhm.
the thing dies. Now, that's the science we currently have. Also, we haven't seen every creature that exists on planet Earth, so God knows.
We literally haven't.
Yeah, like I know there's like a lot of cryptids, like Bigfoot, the Swamp Man, like Chupacabra. Those I think either are based off of animals that do exist, or are different variations of animals that exist. Oh, well,
A Chupacabra, I'm pretty sure it's just a bobcat with some kind of fucking sick
actually,
illness.
the theory right now is that it's a canid, a wild canid in South America.
it's just a dog of some kind that has some kind of fucking disease that somebody saw and it went
Or-
haywire.
Well,
Well,
no.
Like Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god, I need to watch
there.
that movie.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
Bigfoot
Fuck
is a
yeah.
good example of species diversity. So you have the Himalayas where they have the Yeti, right?
Can we save this for the
And they've
cryptid
been
episode?
seeing it.
Yeah, I
for-
think.
Yeah.
Please, Nova, you're
Okay,
going
that's sorry,
so
sorry.
far off tangent now.
But that kind of
Although I
goes.
do
They,
love
they
it.
kind of tie into the supernatural because some of these creatures are technically considered supernatural beings. But they're like, oh, where did it come from if it's a supernatural being? Some people say it's an alternate dimension kind of thing. Some people say, oh, it's like, somebody who died and stuff like that. My theory is that I think they are souls of creatures or beings that have existed on our planet, but their souls didn't cycle back into nature. That they stayed and warped over time. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I
That's
should
the
have
end
said
of
that
that.
forever ago. But it was really hard to say. And also, we were also going to talk about ghost vacation travel.
Yeah, this is where I was. This is the thing I was wanting to know, because we've talked about ghosts like in haunted houses and everything, and where they can be. But is it like, for me, I feel ghosts mostly are stuck to an heirloom, a part of themselves that's like buried on the property or that specific area, and they keep themselves on that specific area where that thing is. If that thing moves, they move with it unwillingly, basically, for me. I don't feel or think that ghosts can like just, woo, let's take a vacation to, I don't know, Hawaii, go there, like randomly.
Okay.
Be like, I
Okay,
want to
so-
haunt on Hawaii now.
I mean, that'd be pretty fucking badass.
It would be,
Bro,
but I think they're
imagine.
stuck. I think they're stuck.
Free travel expenses, hey.
That's true. So what do you guys think?
Okay.
Are they free roaming or
first.
not?
Lulu, you can go first if you want to go first.
I don't think that there are actual rules because we do not know enough about it,
Mm-hmm.
so we're missing information. So Although I would say yes, most ghosts are actually locked to where they died / a place that was very important to them. Like for example, the old angry dude in my dad's house. He did
Sure.
not die there. I think I'm pretty sure he did not die there. But he still lives in that house and is still like walking around. So how it's always been in my brain and my belief at least is they are locked to places they know very well.
Mm-hmm.
Items that they know very well. Or if there was a sudden death, that they get locked because of the confusion of the sudden death to that area. Or that there was like there's so many things, but mostly like how they were feeling in the moment of death.
I kind
That
of agree
is-
with that.
Yeah, that is how my brain works with this.
I think going back to like what I was talking about earlier, when some people die, they are aware that they're dead and they have more control. Like, how would you, because if somebody was stuck in a place, like say your grandma dies in America, right? And you see her spirit in your house, like thousands of miles away. I think because the plane of the spiritual and ours, because if you think, it's like kind of like thinking about the fourth dimension, right? It's
I have an
Sure.
explanation to you.
it's so let me finish. It's so beyond our comprehension that we can't fathom how possible it is for them to do whatever they do, right? So maybe some people are stuck in a place because they don't know that they can leave. But people who are consciously, somebody who dies and they're consciously aware, I can leave this place anytime I want, and they are able to do that, I think that's when they're able to like go places and visit family members. Because I've been visited by my dad. Like, I know it was my dad. I've heard him talk. I've smelt him. Like, it sounds weird, but it's a very distinct smell.
Same with
Mhm.
me and my grandma. She's visited. I've felt her touch, smelled her smell.
Yeah.
It was her.
And my dad died on the other side of the country. So I think that once you kind of get to that point as an individual entity, you're able to go where you want. Kind of like, I mean, you can't just like do it all the time. I think it's one of those things like you have to have the energy to do it. Like, if you don't have the energy from, like, I guess, like, you can pull it from wherever, because everything on the planet has energy, right?
Pull it out your ass.
Because the
Sorry.
particle, like, all the particles and everything moving, everything has a physical energy.
Mm.
And the afterlife, the people, things in the afterlife can pull from that. And that's how they get stronger, because it kind of, like, it's like drinking caffeine. Like, you're tired, you're just, like, not in the mood to do anything, and then you drink caffeine, and it's like, oh, I feel a little bit more awake. I can do stuff now. It's like caffeine for them.
Okay, so the thing with the whole energy thing. Energy. There's the first rule of thermodynamics? Is energy can be neither created nor destroyed. Okay.
Mhm.
It can only be transferred between things.
Mhm.
My problem with the whole energy, with the whole spirit sucking energy out of the world thing is that would imply there is an energy deficit all of a sudden, which it would imply there's an energy deficit in the physical world, which is a huge thermodynamic problem if that is the case. Like, that breaks thermodynamics, which is terrifying, and also from the moment thermodynamics has been discovered has never happened. No one, you cannot disprove them. The reason why thermodynamics is kind of considered to be a science in and of itself outside of physics and chemistry is because they are the only laws. They are the only things that get defined as laws in science because they are so ironclad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's why when you say energy, I feel like perhaps that's not the correct terminology to use in this instance because of what energy is defined as.
Yes. So,
I mean, yeah, I'm not like.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I feel like
No, I
energy
know, I get it.
is not a great word to use in this
What would be
discussion
a
because
better
of,
word to use then?
I don't know. I think saying soul is probably better.
Okay.
Or
But it's
Can
not
I-
just the souls.
Energy.
Can I
Yeah.
help with the like travel of spirits? There is a super simple thing that everybody forgets about here. Force ghosts? Nova is explaining force ghosts. If you're even remotely familiar with Star Wars lore, you're just talking about force spirits. If literally what you can say is like, yeah, if you have enough energy, you can project your being wherever the fuck you want. Yeah, you might be buried in Massachusetts, but you have a cousin in Mexico, so you project your spirit over there to talk to fucking young Luke Skywalker. There we go. Easy. My thing though that I wanted to ask you about was, so you're saying how everything has like energy. Let's just call the energy a soul is energy. It's easier, simpler for everybody to understand, especially a bit like the field of science that also has a respect for energy. So let's
Okay.
ignore the soul because that's a whole different kind of worm's energy. You're saying that Neanderthals and dinosaurs and fucking ancient big owls, when they die, they turn into this raw form of energy that feed off energy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
And you're saying that everything in the world, like from a fucking rock to a grass of leaf, piece of leaf, has energy, right? If Neanderthals and dinosaurs died millions of years ago, right? How is there still energy left in the world? How haven't these things devoured all of it?
this is why energy is not the right word to use because that energy has not gone anywhere. In terms of the laws of thermodynamics, that energy still
It's
exists.
still, yeah, like we have say 10 points of energy still. Like, we're always gonna have that much energy.
Which is why I feel like there's a different. I'm not saying like the whole of spiritualism should change what they define it by. I just think using the word energy is perhaps misleading to what they're actually talking about.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to find a proper word for it because it feels like an energy.
But like soul is a whole different kind of worm again.
Yeah, but that's because there's not just souls out there, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
For
There's-
example, curiosity is one of the strongest feelings in the world, and one of the most like normal things I see is tiny little creatures, which is the curiosity creatures. Don't ask, don't tell. I no idea how I named them, or anything like that. But I call them curiosity creatures because they are just that. They're only curious. They will look at you from around corners. They will look at you from behind stuff because they don't like to be seen. And they are not souls.
They're just beings that have
sense.
always
They-
been.
They are a being that either came into being.
Existence.
Came into existence by curiosity around it. Like, for example, lived at school, Folkeskole, for those who know Norwegian.
Yeah.
There were so many of these tiny. They look like children. Also, I can't see things properly. They are only shadows to me, so everything is a shadow person to me. But that's just how it is. They are the energy, the essence of. I guess essence is better to say. They are the essence of curiosity. They are not a soul. They are a feeling that was left behind.
Okay. I could see that being like
Yes.
pretty valid. If you think about like the evolution of humanoids, right? Humanoids, to think that humans are the only humanoids to ever exist is just ignorance.
We aren't.
Because it's been proven that there were people like basically like hobbits. It's like the best way that even scientists.
Yeah,
I think
but-
they're called something else, but Homo sapiens basically wiped out every other humanoid. That's how we're so evolved to the point where we are, because Homo sapiens wiped out every other humanoid relative in our genus.
Yeah, but
Which is funny
I'm
because the
s-
Homo sapien female liked Neanderthal men.
Yeah, there's actually people who still have the DNA of Neanderthal. Who actually, they just look like regular people, but you can tell by their bone structure. Some, like, I mean, not all people who have that DNA, but some people, you can actually get it stronger in Europe. Because that's like the area where the Neanderthal hung out, I guess.
I don't understand the point you were trying to make, Noah, because you started the point with
sorry.
you don't believe that we're the only humanoid. Then you immediately.
Sorry, but anyway, I got distracted, sidetracked.
Yeah, I know, but like you say, like we're not the only humanoid, which is true because there are so many species of the human that has been around.
So,
we're
like,
just the only one that survived.
It's like spirits, like I guess like gnomes and like
Short humans.
trolls, stuff like that that people have like seen for thousands of years, can be probably explained by the spirits of these creatures that actually lived on our planet.
Can I bring up an argument?
Sure.
Of course.
It very much like, especially like with trolls, because this is like in our culture, right? With like trolls. It's like,
Troll!
with that,
Sorry.
it is just the human brain seeing patterns. Do you know the one thing that we're evolved the most to see? It's faces. Like for a generation or two, we believed there were like faces on the fucking face of the moon. And it just turned out to be a crater with some weird lighting. The same can be said for like trolls. That's why you thought mountains were alive at some point, because some people saw faces in them. Because we are predetermined evolutionary to like spot faces. So if you see like a little mushroom thing and maybe the wind is very strong, or you ate a weird mushroom, you might see a face in the mushroom and say, oh, it's an elf or whatever. Like that is a very valid explanation for that.
It is. Oh yeah, like it's with a lot of like things that like people will like take pictures of like say a window, right? And they're like, oh, there's a face in the window, but if you like look at it closer, it's just a smudge on the window that looks like a person.
And the
Same
lighting
with
is
like
nothing
you're
else.
in the dark, your brain can start turning that nothing into like faces. That is very valid, and that happens literally all the time, like the Jesus on toast.
Yeah.
Oh my
Toast
god, I love the
Jesus?
toast Jesus.
Favorite kind.
But like
It tastes delicious like that too.
Taste the
but
Holy Spirit,
saying that is every occurrence that people experience is just I don't want to be offensive, but that's ignorant to say that every single
like
occurrence that have happened
know.
to people is saying that's not okay.
Usually when people use the word that usually when that is brought up, it's never meant as everyone literally in the history of mankind. It is on average. It is the on average population feel this or see this, or like that is the only way to interpret. Like when somebody says everyone blah blah blah, you should always interpret it, at least in my opinion, should always interpret it as the average populace feels this way. The average populace does this, because there are so many things that happen to individuals. Everybody grew up differently. Everybody has a different worldview. So everyone's brains are like wired differently. So like saying a like such total statement as everyone is impossible. You can't do that. You can't be like saying everyone has this average BPM, because that's not true. That's wholeheartedly false. Everybody sees the sky as blue. We cannot prove that. Maybe your blue is different to me. Like, so when you use the word everyone, it is the majority, the average, not everyone.
Yeah. Where did that come from, by the way? I zoned out.
Nova said something about me saying everyone, and I just needed to explain why.
Oh,
What that means.
Yeah, it's like when I say normal people. Because
Yeah,
people
like-
are always like, nobody's normal. And I'm like, excuse me, we're outside the norm. Shut the fuck up.
It's just like the average individual, the average
Yeah.
person.
Let's
When,
not
like,
get,
when you
let's
say
not get
like
pedantic over language. So let's.
no, but like it is important whenever like, because that's a learned thing that when you say everyone, you usually refer to the majority.
Yeah.
Yes, where did that come from?
Nova.
Again? Okay, well, anyways, we're done with that. Everyone normal. We're Gucci. Oh, what were we talking about?
I was like, for me, I think I'm done with my topics I wanted to touch. But
Okay.
I remember Jose saying that he did have a story he wanted to share.
So this goes back to the topic of like ghosts touching things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, so back when I used to work in the fast food place I used to work overnight, right? And I had two people that I used to work with, and it was just always the three of us, and we were all, male, but we'd always hear a woman's voice when obviously there's no one who is a woman there. And
Very lonely. I don't know.
maybe, but like, I don't know, maybe.
Okay. What are you saying?
She hated men. This ghost hated men. Because she would constantly throw things at us. The one in particular case that I always remember is that I was in the walk-in fridge, and we have we have all these shelves like lined with
Oh no.
What though?
Oh no.
Oh no.
stuff, whatever. And I was
Okay.
on one side of the room, and I was on one side of the room. Oh, there it goes. And I don't know if is it better?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're back.
Doodad.
You-
Say I was
You were back.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh.
Now we want to hear the story.
I would like to tell the story too.
Okay, you're back. Hurry.
Okay,
Alright.
hurry. There was something on the shelf on the opposite side of the room that was thrown at me, and it hit me like on the back of the head, and it wasn't even that heavy. But no one else was obviously in this cooler, and it was just me, and it was on the opposite side of the room. I didn't touch anything, and it was thrown at me. So I blame the ghost for that. So that's my story before I robot again.
Okay, so
Honestly, that's a fair way. I'd also say ghosts.
Mm. But that's us.
Yeah.
well, I mean, so the thing, how sleep deprived were you when you were working this?
This was like 2 years in, so I was already used to working overnight.
It's not. You may be used to it, but how sleep deprived were you? Would you say you were?
We'll never know.
Jose! Jose!
No.
I said
Our
I
boy is dead.
No, he's here.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
but we're here.
You're
We're
here.
here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was not sleep deprived at all. I had a whole 8 hours of sleep beforehand.
Okay. How long had you been working when you would would you is like
That day,
yeah? Well, like just in
Like-
general, like how often, how long were these shifts?
these shifts were often like 8 hours long.
That's
Okay,
like
so you wouldn't-
normal.
So you wouldn't
Yeah.
say you were exhausted.
No, that was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
And how, I don't know, how well would you say the building was looked after?
Pretty well.
Was it an old building, new building?
No, it was a relatively new building. I think at the time it was only 10 years old.
Okay. How tall was the building?
Oh, I don't know.
Get as much information as I can here. Like,
I love the specific you're going into.
Yeah, like I'm just waiting for what you're gonna
Welcome to
diagnose
science.
us with.
Give me the science!
It
Now!
was
This is how it works.
it was a
you
one
have to get all
story.
the variables. This is
it was a
scientific theory at work.
I
It
love
was a
it.
one-story building with a big attic.
All right,
So
there we go.
it was a rather tall
There's
building.
something that we can kind of maybe pick out as an anomaly here.
Remember,
Okay.
he was in the walk-in cooler, which is no access to the outside world because it's completely closed off.
Have you ever
Yeah.
been in a walk-in cooler?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta say I've been in a few of those.
I
Normally,
mean,
normally there's vents.
I worked in
Yeah.
I worked in restaurants.
I've been in
Remember
one
there's
of those. I remember those days. Haha.
So my
There's
logic,
never
my
any
logic would be, I I don't know. Every scenario is different. My logic would be in this one instance, it's probably, if it's got a large attic, that's a lot of open space, and you're working in a restaurant with lots of different like air pressures because you got lots of different hot air and a lot of different cold air. That's going to create artificial gusts and things. Now that doesn't explain all of it, but I was literally in a room the other day with a slightly open window, and it was very windy outside, and it literally sounded like a person whistling, like humming. So that might explain the screaming noises, but I'm also not going to say 100% that's the case, because again, I wasn't there. I've not been in this attic. I've not been around this building.
Yeah.
But I believe it's probably some kind of air pressure situation.
Okay, but like, how was the thing thrown? Was the thing thrown?
The thing moving is.
Sorry.
I'm going to go back to
Did
my
it just fall down?
my previous point about
Oh.
particle energy. That I think explains a lot of this kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a devil's advocate again, because it's funny, especially with the whole of apparently I'm not attractive to ghosts. Sadly, I'm not hot enough for ghosts.
Or maybe you're too hot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too hot. So
Maybe they get
I'm too
shy.
hot to handle. They can't even touch me. They
Mhm.
Yeah.
evaporate when they try to touch me.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with that now. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't really care about your
Anywho,
looks.
I used to work in this restaurant. I was in this like the building. I think is like 200, 300 some years old. It's fucking old stone building.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started there, like everyone's like, this building is haunted. It was like they definitely believed it was 100% haunted. People would hear voices of like women, children, old people, fucking everything. People like our customers who went to the bathroom like sometimes swore they heard shit. Bitch, I was in that place like in the fucking witching hour sometimes, completely alone in this empty ass gigantic building, right? Not a single thing. Never heard anything. I didn't even hear like pipes creaking. So I'm like, okay.
That in and of
I-
itself is really weird, though. Like, not
Is it
hearing,
though?
not hearing the pipes, not hearing anything.
If you're the only person in the building,
That'd make
yeah,
me so uncomfortable.
That would make me extremely uncomfortable.
y'all are weird.
I hate like.
I'll
cobblestone.
go into the middle of the fucking forest, no fucking problem. Leave me alone in a building that's not my home? No, thank you. I'll
Mhm.
rather die.
But I have the keys to the building and there's food everywhere.
It's-
Okay, you know
okay.
what?
Hey,
Nice.
look, the point flew away.
Yeah.
I want to say, because as I live now, I have a cat, so I blame every little noise on my cat, no matter where he is, just to make myself less scared or not like be paranoid. I just blame everything on him.
In your
Like-
defense, like cats are little ninjas.
Yeah, but even if
Don't know
he's
what
like
they are.
sleeping, even if I hear him snore somewhere, and there's a noise coming from the bathroom or the kitchen, I'm like, nah, that's just something he did earlier. That's like just falling down now. So I've learned to keep myself not paranoid and such by blaming my cat.
Um,
I
that's
just
fair.
wanted to say that.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing.
Hey, Telrin, I can probably, if so, as a person who strongly believes in the supernatural, if
It need
if
to
you
preface it.
and you, yeah, because like you
I
said,
know.
you worked at a place that was super like notoriously haunted, but you never
Uh-huh.
experienced anything. It
Uh-huh.
could be that some stuff did happen, but you are so shut off to it that if something did happen, you would just write it off as a natural occurrence.
No, but like literally, like I nothing interesting like at all. Like I couldn't even tell you if like a thing fell off a shelf or if like a floorboard creaked. Like I couldn't even tell you. Like it was just a stone building, man. Fucking nothing.
Sometimes like if I mean like I've seen skeptic like straight up skeptics just like you like completely do a 180 and when they experience, once they experience that one thing that just completely changes them. But most of the time, like even if like a spirit, like say a spirit wants your attention, and you just will not acknowledge it as something supernatural, most of the time they just don't even fucking want to bother. They're like, I'm not gonna get a rise out of this guy. What's the point?
You're saying that all ghosts are nice guys.
No, not at all.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It could just be that coincidentally, you just either if you did experience something, you just wrote it off as not anything special.
The thing with that as a means to say, oh well, so you didn't experience it because you don't believe, or you're not tuned into it, or because you're a skeptic, you just write it off as logical.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of exist. So I'm not saying that you're entirely wrong. I can't say that 100%.
I'm so sorry.
You can't. When the burden of proof lies with your arguments here. So you can't. You shouldn't in this instance, I believe, say you didn't experience it and use the absence of Tel'Ran's belief in it as a justification for your point, because the burden of proof, I believe, lies with you to prove that this stuff exists to us with physical evidence. So to say the idea of, well, Tel'Ran, you don't have a high connection with this kind of thing, therefore that's why you didn't experience anything, doesn't, to a lot of people, myself included, is not a satisfactory explanation.
Fine.
Do you understand? I'm not saying like I'm trying not to be rude about it. I'm trying to like apply the scientific logic here.
No,
the burden of proof lies with the people who want to change the status quo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make you guys believe in anything. I don't really care if you believe in it or not.
No.
But
I'm just saying, if you want to try and present it as fact, you have to, or you should strive to. The burden of proof lies with yourselves, because the current reigning theory is that ghosts don't exist, correct? Like that's the current, like that's what most people believe, or what the science tends to point to. Yeah.
Well, I think it's torn pretty 50-50, to be honest. Like
let's say the physical evidence that we have points to ghosts not existing. Therefore, the burden of proof lies with yourself. So
I think that's why a lot of people, people who get into paranormal investigation, they do what they do because they want to try and get that physical proof to try and help people understand that there's more to our world than just physically there. You know what I mean? Like solidity. There we go. That's a better word for it. There's more to our world and universe than just solidity, and that there's more beyond what we can like see with our eyes.
On that like note with like oh yeah, you're just too hot to handle, ghosts don't like you, but the thing is though, hey, I don't like gravity, but I have to fucking deal with it because it's a scientific fact. I don't like that we have to breathe, but I have to deal with it because it's a scientific fact. Like, if ghosts are real, it should be it should be provable that anyone can see them as a scientific truth. That is the point that's trying to be made.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, no, you're just allergic to gravity, therefore you don't have to abide by the rules of gravity. That's not how it works.
You know,
honestly,
if ghosts are real, even if they're not necessarily attracted to me, I should be able to know that they are there.
Mostly, that was mostly a joke saying that, like,
I know, but there are the theories of like, oh, I am a medium, so I can contact ghosts, and like that whole inside business.
I believe. Okay, hold on. You threw so much out in 1 second that my brain overloaded.
Yes,
That's what I do. I'm very good at it.
Okay, so back to why you probably can't see ghosts. Let's look at it this way instead then, because just saying as a meme is you're too hot to haunt, that I know that is just like kind of a cop-out, but look at it from a perspective of, for example, a skill instead.
Yeah.
Some people, and I'm gonna say, are born born with talents, right?
That's
No.
a debate for another day, but
That
sure.
is a different debate, but we all know that some people are better at this thing than this thing, right? Maybe some people just are more attuned to it, like, and have been using that skill throughout their life instead of like just pushing it aside and saying that no, it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that that is how it is, because it is just theory. Everything, because we do
Can
not
I-
have tangible proof of this.
Can I present
I'm aware.
a similar scenario? There are people who are born without the ability to experience pain. Correct? We
Yep.
know this. We know these people exist. They touch a hot stove, their hand still burns.
Yeah.
Me and Taran don't believe in ghosts, but we still don't have any physical markings or evidence of us experiencing ghosts. But what we're trying to point out is that if ghosts are there, then we should still have these markings and evidence around us in theory,
Yes,
but we don't.
yeah,
I-
but how do you prove something is there when you can't?
I
see
have
it?
I have a good way of
Yeah.
explaining it. Can I try?
Mhm.
A good example is oxygen. You breathe, right? You know it's there. Like it's
Yes.
there, but you can't see it. But it's there.
You can measure it.
Yeah, that's true. But it's really about the tools that you have to use to be able to measure oxygen. In a way that's kind of the same with the supernatural. Some people have better tools naturally. It's like this, like the whole natural instinct, right? Yeah, some people have a better natural instinct than others. Like some people have no sense of danger, and they're like, "Oh, this is a white van. Maybe I should just go on in. He says he has puppies, right?"
Oh my god, puppies!
Right, but like some people have that, and some people don't. So some people are more keen to have that built-in tool to sense the supernatural. Other
Okay.
people, like yourselves, might not. I'm not saying that you're unable, because it's one of those things that it's like, you know, oxygen's there. You can see it, but you can be more aware of it once you let yourself acknowledge it. So like there's people who are skeptics that were like, "Oh, I don't believe in ghosts. There's no physical evidence." And then they open themselves up to experience something, and they experience it, and they're like, "Okay, maybe something does exist." So they go looking for it.
I have a point on that after you're done.
And it kind of opens them up to perceive it more, if that makes sense. It's like, but believing in it is also a way, like believing, like, you know how like people believe in God, there's no proof of God, but people believe in God because it's just something that they feel comfort in, maybe. I mean, I don't feel comfort in ghosts because ghosts can fuck right off
Yeah.
out of my life because I don't want to be around that shit. But unfortunately, I've experienced them, I've seen them, I've been touched by them. Unfortunately, not in a sexual way, I don't think, but like I've experienced it. So I can't definitively tell myself that's not real, because it did happen to me, and it is my reality, and it's what it happened to me. But I'm not saying that my reality has to be what you have to perceive, because if you don't want to perceive it, and you don't perceive it, then you probably, there's a very, very low chance that you will.
So when I was younger, Nova,
When
I was
A
when I was
young
a
boy.
young boy, I was incredibly into everything like supernatural and witchy and occulty. Like I was hugely into that, and especially just because of our culture, right? Super into it. Yet I didn't see anything. Like I did a lot of research. I had my own theories about like why do young people die and why do other people not die. Like I had everything, right? And still nothing. So like you bringing up the point of if you're open to it, I was fucking like 18, like I was like an
But there's a-
18-year-old female student out on the town for the first time, wide open for it. Nothing happens.
All right, so going back to what I was saying earlier, some people have it naturally built in that they are able to perceive it better than others. Kind of like the like survival instinct. Some people don't have it because they're fucking, I don't know, they just don't have it. It could be that like not everybody is able to perceive it as well as other people. Even if you can want something with all your being and never experience it at all your whole life. But somebody who's like, I don't want to, but it keeps happening to them, it's because they just are more naturally not keen, but they're more naturally susceptible to experience things like that.
Okay, so let's take this to a logical extreme.
Okay.
Are you blind people really want to see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are they,
Not all of them.
are they okay? Fine. Blind people
Majority.
really want to see.
Yeah.
Are they just not in tune with their eyes enough to not see, or is it because there's
Different. That's
something
like a physical disability, right? You can't use that as that's like saying like that'd be like using the trans individuals as like an example. It's just not
No, but
okay
you're saying
because
like
that's
this is
physically a disability.
Yeah, but you're saying
Or
that some
not
are.
trans. I'm not saying trans people are disabled.
No,
Please
no.
don't misinterpret that.
No, we know. We know.
Yeah, we know.
You were saying that some are born with this like inherent skill, call it that, right?
Mhm.
Then that means that there has to be like a physical bit of their brain or something that is developed more, or say that there is like a sixth sense that they have, or whatever you want to equate it to.
Mhm.
You are saying that some people are born with this physical thing that they're
Yes.
more in tune to than the others.
Yes.
So it is a valid point he's bringing up.
Well, it's not like one of those things. Like I said, if there are people who don't want to perceive like spirits, but unfortunately, they do. Like, I personally would wish that I never experienced any supernatural occurrence in my entire life. I wish I never did. And I wish I couldn't see or experience these things. But unfortunately, that's just not how it worked for me.
How do we feel about we being done? Is it more?
I think it's a good thing.
Is it more that people really need to get out?
We can talk about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We kind of did talk about all the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Thagomisers.
we had a brief discussion.
Yeah.
So there's a diner with a thing called a thagomizer. That's the one with the spiky ends.
I love the. Can't remember the name of it because my brain is mush now. Ankylosaurus.
Yeah, it is the Ankylosaurus. Oh no, Allosaurus.
What is the one
No, that's my
called?
favorite.
What is the one called that like scares the person on the toilet in Jurassic Park? That's my favorite dinosaur.
Velociraptor.
That was a
Probably.
Velociraptor.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an Allosaurus. I'm literally looking at the Google thing
Well,
right now.
I guess the last thing to say on this topic is thank you for your perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you for yours. It was awesome to have like.
Yeah,
an
it's
actual science,
interesting to hear like even you guys' perspective. And
Oh yeah,
other
no, I
guys's.
love this shit.
Yeah, I love
Me
the
too.
sciencey side of it.
It's really
Uh,
fun to talk about with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to anyone who may think, oh, well, to anyone listening, watching, whatever, the way you have these discussions is you try and listen to other people,
Mhm.
and you then retort with things that you believe in, things that you know. You don't say things like, oh, you're just delusional, because that does not.
It does not make a discussion.
No,
it's
that's
not
It
a
just makes
discussion.
an argument, not a.
Yeah.
Like
It's not a
as much as I disagree with some of the elements of what they said, I'm still going to counteract with my logic and reason. I'm not just going to say, oh, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
that's
dude, like
totally
I,
fine.
I am contending with like my logical self and my like fantasy loving part of myself.
Which
Because
is completely fair.
the fantasy bit of me is like, I love this shit.
I
I'll
wish
take
Cthulhu
this
was
and
real.
use it
I-
somewhere. Like
Every
Yeah.
part of me wishes this shit was real, but I just can't
it's,
believe it.
It's like I'm saying, like if it's proven, I'll be glad that it's proven. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, ghosts are real.
I hope you guys
fucking
never
awesome.
experience it. To be honest, it's horrible.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like
It's horrible. So please, 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 please never experience it. Unless
I
you
would
really,
just
really
think-
want to. I mean, that's all you.
I'm always fascinated by the idea of our objective reality being challenged.
Yeah.
But I like
having
to apply science from known science to theory because that's the only way you can challenge what already exists.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I also do want to say that most ghost hunting equipment is fucking bullshit.
Oh my
yeah.
god, yes.
But my
I
favorite
hate
one
vampire.
is the Estes method. That's the
Yes,
only
oh my
one I
God.
believe in. Only one I believe in because of how they do it and how it's
So
working.
hard to disprove.
Yeah,
what is that though? Can you just
Estes
tell me?
Oh,
method
boy.
is where a person go like blindfolded and wearing a headset with only hearing what the spirit box basically says, and then the other person sits on another room. It can be way away from the person that has the spirit box, ask questions, and then the person with the spirit box, only hearing that one, answers what it tells you. Sometimes, most of the times, it makes sense with the kind of questions. Without,
Sometimes it's complete gibberish.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Like,
it
they're
always
just hearing
is.
like the static. Yeah.
Can
It
I
always
just
is.
bring up a scientific side of that though?
Yeah.
Because you're saying like, oh, it's impossible to disprove, or like it's harder
No,
to
no,
disprove.
no. I'm not saying that, but yeah.
But like, because you're saying, so you're sense depriving a person of everything, and you're also depriving them of context. All they have is just
What
because
they
Yeah,
hear in the
yeah.
machine.
Exactly.
I'm getting to it. Like they have a headset with like it's mostly static, isn't it? And then sometimes they hear like words or whatever, and then they have to
Yeah.
interpret that as speech.
Mhm.
That is usually where you immediately already run into the problem. You interpret it because I don't think like most of that isn't like clear. Hello, yes, it was a Tuesday. It is like you are interpreting it to some part.
Well,
Yeah, but you don't really
Yes.
have any idea what the other person.
Yeah,
was
like context.
asking.
I know that, but you're still interpreting what it's being said to you. Like for that to work, right? You would have to have multiple different people who are listening and asking these same questions over and over and getting the same repeat answers. If that happens, sure, I'll
Yeah.
believe you. But if it's just one person and it's only ran once and that's it, that's more just interpretations and random chaos.
Okay, so hello. I will now explain how they usually do it when it comes to exactly what you're saying there.
Okay.
Usually they go through obviously the footage thousands of times. They have their own like thingies that like pick up the sound, right? I'm sorry, like I've said earlier, mush. So they don't just go through it once on the haunt and then yeah, no, we're done with that. Bite. They go through that multiple time, pitch shifting and trying to find like what is being said, if anything is being said, or if it's just gurgled garbage, which is sometimes is. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Yeah.
But usually these like pieces of evidence, as they call it, do go through like a lot of checking if it's actually what they think is being said, or if something else is actually being said here. Like,
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
I understand completely, though, that there is skepticism because this, like, Estes method is usually, sorry, by the way, I'm just gonna finish explaining how it works. It goes through radio frequencies at, like, 1 point something millisecond, second. Like, it goes fast. So there shouldn't actually be, especially a sentence in that at all.
Right. So, I appreciate that they maybe are attempting to apply some scientific testing to it.
Mm.
But the accepted way to do this kind of testing, if you want to certifiably prove something, would be to take a control group, put them in an area that is classified as neutral space with the same setup, see what they hear. Then take multiple people from another group, put them in the environment, but they have no knowledge of where they are. They aren't being told they're going into an haunted house. They aren't being told they're going to a site with spiritual significance. You put them in there and you see what they hear. And if there is a significant difference that can be proved via data, as in you can run a statistical test of this people heard this people, like what did these people hear, what did these people hear, and you'd find a way to quantify that in statistics. And if you could prove to me via that raw data that hypothesis is true, that the null hypothesis, which would be saying a null hypothesis in this case would be there are no ghosts, for example. You can disprove that null hypothesis. That statistically and scientifically proves there is something happening there. But until that is done, which I don't believe will ever happen, because there will not be because no one's gonna take it seriously enough, unfortunately, to do that kind of rigorous testing. That's when I'd be willing to be like, okay, maybe there's something to look into here.
Yeah.
That's the kind of level of testing that you would need to do. That's how
Yeah.
you prove things that's how things are proved in physics, chemistry, biology, etc.
Yeah.
And that's what's lacking here. They know where they're
no
going.
shit. I'm sorry.
And
yeah,
that's
sorry.
the ghost theories. Just kidding.
Sorry. Yeah. No, but like, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you, hon.
So the point I'm making is that what's lacking is that the people going in have a bias. They go in, they know where they're going. You have to remove the way scientific theory works is you are only allowed to have one significant difference, and the significant difference between the two groups should be the location. And so you have to remove all the preconceived biases. If that happens, if you can find me a study, or if someone's willing to do that, then I will sit down and be like, absolutely, 100%. And that paper would need to be cross-referenced, and it would need to be fact-checked, and it would need to have other supporting papers. And I hope that one day maybe
we will get that.
I hope that one day
Hopefully.
like that can happen. But until it does, you're gonna have people like me and Teleron who are skeptical.
Yeah,
And
of
being
course.
skeptical is totally acceptable and understandable as long as you respect what I say as my belief.
Yeah, and we respect yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody has a specific person they want to raid, or
Is there anybody even online right now?
Annie is just chatting. I think they're doing a
the
Smasher
VQ's
Pass.
on. I was about to be like, VQ's online.
no,
I
she's
think
not.
I think they're
They're
ending.
They're ending.
Papa Mutt's on.
Yeah, they're ending.
Okay. I have one person that's gonna be on just chatting too. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. But yeah. This podcast talk show thingy we're doing now will mostly happen last week every month. Was it that? One of the
Yeah.
days last week every month. With a new topic every time.
If we kept them on Thursdays, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
For me, any day worked, so it's
Yeah.
all to everybody. So we'll see
But,
what next time will be about.
Yay!
Yay!
You can
Fuck it.
vote. You can vote on it on the Discord.
Yeah, we'll
Zelda
vote
tier
on it.
list. Zelda
Yeah,
tier list.
yes.
Oh
Can
my
we
god.
do Smasher? I cannot wait for Smasher.
No.
No,
Yes.
we're
It's gonna be in
not-
Yes.
February on Valentine's.
It.
What if people
It's
have
the
plans on
perfect
Valentine's Day?
time
You ever think of
to
that?
do.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
We're people on the internet. We don't have things outside
I'm
of
sorry,
Taking-
guys,
taking
but
Caroline
I'm
out
in
on
a
a date.
relationship.
The day after Valentine's then. Fucking easy. There you go.
What if I got so banged up the night before?
I don't want to.
can't even
That sounds
walk.
like a you problem. Hey,
Call the
Nova, you're
cops.
using your mouth to speak, not your ass. Hopefully.
Womp womp. Actually, I've been farting this whole time, so you know.
No, we don't need to know that.
That makes sense.
I've been muting a lot.
Thank you for respecting that.
You're
Mhm.
welcome. I just gotta let you know that that was happening the whole fucking time.
I didn't need to know that, actually, in fact.
I do like how I don't know if you could do this on purpose. But we do literally have skeptics, neutrals, and believers like separated out perfectly.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool because like if you accusing like oh yeah, it is split out perfectly, but
It
Jose
really is,
doesn't
but-
believe it, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
but like I
say
also.
bye-bye to stream before they go.
Bye, stream.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye 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 bye.